What's up, YouTube? This is your boy John from the Jersey Shore, and I'm here with you today to talk about the 1979 classic Italian horror movie, Lucio Fulci's Zombie. This movie begins with a boat mysteriously floating in the New York harbor. A couple guys from the Coast Guard come upon this boat. They board the boat to check it out. One guy goes down below, and he finds worms sitting on top of pianos, and he finds that it's just overrun with trash. It looks like somebody's ransacked the joint, flipped the trash all over the place. Then he discovers a human hand that appears to have been chewed up, laying on the floor, and all of a sudden, out of a door comes a big fat zombie. He's bald, he looks half decayed, his mouth is all covered in blood, and he starts approaching this cop. Well, he's Coast Guard, not cop. He starts approaching this gentleman from the Coast Guard, gets him on the ground, tears his throat open. That's the end of that guy. Fat guy makes his way up to the deck. There's another cop up on the... Once again, not a cop. There's another guy from the Coast Guard up on the deck. He shoots the zombie. The zombie falls into the water. Cut scene. Now the real cops show up on the boat. They get there, and the daughter of the owner of this boat is also there. She looks scared to death. She's like a deer in headlights. She's standing there literally not saying anything. The cops start questioning her about what's going on. She's questioning the cops in return, asking her if they know where her father is. She confirms that it is in fact her father's boat, but she hadn't spoken to him in several months, and she would like to know where he is. They would like to know where he is, and nobody knows exactly what's going on at this point. So she and one of the cops take it upon themselves to bring on a couple of divers. They go out into the ocean. They're trying to find out what happened to this girl's father, and while out there, one of the divers, which is the female, there's a male and a female, the female diver decides for whatever reason that she needs to take her top off to dive into the water. She's out there scuba diving, and she comes upon what it turns out to be one of the coolest zombie scenes that I think that has ever been filmed in cinema, as well as one of the craziest zombie scenes that has ever been filmed in cinema. This girl goes down under the water and happens upon a guy made up like a zombie underwater, and he is down there battling with a real shark underwater. I have no idea what they could have possibly paid this dude to do this, or paid the topless chick to do this. Highly dangerous. It is a real shark. They're underwater filming this stuff for a horror movie made in 1979. You know they weren't making very much money. I don't know what they could have possibly been thinking, and I would love to know what that director dangled in front of these two to make them do this. Anyway, this really doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie, other than the fact you see a zombie underwater. Whatever. So she makes her way back onto the boat. Eventually, these guys make it onto an island. On that island is a doctor who is trying to figure out what exactly is going on, what is bringing the dead back to life, and how do you stop this from happening. I'm a diehard horror movie fan, and my favorite subgenre in horror is probably zombie movies. I love zombie movies. It's right in there for me with slasher movies. As much as I love slasher movies, I love zombie movies every bit as much as slasher movies. And this, for me, is back in the heyday of zombie movies when it was all practical effects, no CGI. And if you can, another subgenre of that subgenre for me is Italian horror movies. I love Italian horror movies, especially Italian zombie movies. I just think that those guys know what they're doing. Every Italian horror movie that I've ever seen in my life feels like this one, with the really eerie, cheap keyboard score that's going throughout the movie. The audio, the verbiage is slightly off from what their mouths are doing. They almost look like they're lip syncing. Obviously, because most of the time it's in Italian and the dubbing is in English. I love these movies. Most of the time when I come across younger people, they hate these movies. They think they look terrible, they sound terrible, and they do sound terrible, and they do look terrible, and that's what I love about them. They just feel grimy, and they feel like what a zombie movie should feel like. When you see a zombie tearing somebody's throat out or tearing somebody's limbs off, it it's not supposed to be pretty. It's supposed to be gritty and grimy, and that is exactly what this movie is. This is way back. This is a 40-year-old movie, and it's a classic. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen this movie, and it never gets old to me. I absolutely positively love this movie. And if you are a fan of zombie movies, I strongly suggest that if you have not seen this movie, see this movie as soon as you can. I'm not sure exactly where it's available for streaming. I own it on Blu-ray twice, actually. But it's the world of the internet. It's 2019. If you want to see a movie, you're going to find it. If you look online hard enough, you're going to find this movie. If you can't find it just simply listed as Zombie, I know that in this country it's also known as Zombie 2. That has something to do with George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. A guy in Italy was responsible for the dubbing and the bringing the original Night of the Living Dead to Italy. And then when this movie was put out, it was almost treated like a sequel to that movie, when in all actuality it has absolutely nothing to do with that movie. But that is why you see the difference between the two. Yeah. The first DVD that I bought of this movie is actually known as Zombie. It's listed as being Zombie. And this one, I bought this many, many moons ago. This is obviously pre-Blu-ray days. And then several years after that, which by my calculations was about 15 years ago, they put out a 25th anniversary of this. And on this, it's listed as being Zombie 2, which is due to what I just explained with the George Romero movie from back in 68 or 69. I'm not exactly sure. I believe it was 68. I digress. Has nothing to do with this. If you're a big enough fan of this subgenre, I have no doubt that you have seen this image in magazines and on T-shirts and in internet clips, and it's a very well-known image, and this is the movie that comes from. This particular zombie, they show him slowly coming out of the ground within the last third of this movie. He's coming out of the ground, he sits up, he bites some chick, it's pretty awesome. He looks like he's about 30 feet tall, he's standing over her, looking down at her. Fantastic scene, bloody. It's exactly what you would think of in a 1979 zombie movie that with all practical effects. It's fantastic. This movie's got it all. Fulci did a great job with this movie. It's very well acted. Yeah. I think Lucio Fulci did a fantastic job with this movie. I like everything about it. I think the story's great. I think that the overacting is great. It's a depiction of the time. It's exactly what all of these movies back then were like. I love the fact that it's overdubbed. I love the fact that the video quality is not great and it just looks filthy. Everything about this is fantastic. The blood looks real. The tearing of the flesh looks real. The gore looks fantastic. If you like zombie movies and you are a fan of this subgenre and you like Italian horror movies, you have to see this movie if you have not already seen it. My guess is that you probably have. Lucio Fulci's Zombie. 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10. Absolutely legendary. Check it out if you haven't seen it. If you have already seen it, watch it again. It's worth it. Alright, so that's going to do it for my review of Lucio Fulci's Zombie. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to go on this journey with me. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a kick-ass day, and thank you for watching.